Hi, this is the final assessment for MGT569. It's Assessment 3, Your Leadership Blueprint. So this assessment value is the highest, 40%. It's due on the 13th of October, so you've got plenty of time to get it in. If you want to get it in early, I'm happy for that as well. It's 3 to 3,500 words. So at that rate, I'd be looking at you submitting this with at least 10 to 12 references as a minimum. I really like this diagram, a leadership blueprint. It's a very architectural one. I remember my son doing some when he did his interior architecture course. He did some lovely blueprints like this. I thought this was a lovely simple one. The blueprint is made up of character, confidence, competence, consistency, and a creativity pillar. So these different pillars they're the architecture for the blueprint. So there's different ways of looking at a blueprint. And why we use the word blueprint is because there's no one way of doing it. You might wish to do something like this. You may wish to just do a traditional professional development plan. It's your blueprint for the future, and it's something that you're going to develop that's going to you're going to use on your journey. It's not just about doing this subject and then you do something different when you do your next subject. It's about you creating a space for identifying where you want to go, what you need to develop. It might be you might want to develop more reflective practice. You might want to develop more networking abilities, relational skills, a whole range of things that you've identified that you want to do some more work on. You might want to develop your academic writing, etc. Okay? So, let's keep going. So you've got to do 5 tasks here. The first one is to assess and critically review your current leadership capacity, including your strengths and areas for improvement. Now, your personality assessment and your locating yourself have given you a really good insight into who you are. You need to really reflect on this and do more reflection. Think about really critically, what are the areas where you need to kind of focus your improvement, but also from a positive perspective, where are you strong and can you leverage off those as well? Now, use theoretical and other research references to explore how your experiences are connected to larger issues in the leadership development literature. Okay? So you can use the information, as I've said, from your first 2 assessments. The second thing is to create an illustration of your leadership blueprint, which is a plan that includes the actions that you will undertake to develop your leadership over the course of your studies. So this may be an illustration. It may be an illustration of a blueprint, of a plan. It may be a template with a plan in it. Anything that illustrates, it's not just words, anything that illustrates where you're going to go. Okay? You can be as creative as you wish to be, given that creativity is a great leadership capacity, or you can just do the traditional action plan template. Discuss in detail your leadership blueprint. So you develop that and then you discuss it in detail. And this is your blueprint to continue to develop and refine your leadership skills, practices and behaviours. Referring to the theoretical and other research references to support your planned actions, and you can also refer to your practice experiences as well. Provide evaluation measures that will identify how you will know when you have achieved these skills, practices and behaviours. So really important to do some monitoring. How are you going to evaluate how you're going? Some people decide to use reflective practice. There's a whole range of evaluation measures out there. One of them is getting feedback from peers, asking your team, getting evaluation from your team. Some of you have coaches, working with your coach to work out evaluation measures, getting feedback from your coach. A whole range of ways you can go about evaluating how you're going in your practice. But if you don't evaluate, you actually cannot look at improving. So discuss how you will ensure that your leadership is going to constantly evolve to meet the needs of a workplace or organisation and its members in the 21st century. So we've talked about 21st century leadership in this subject. How are you going to constantly evolve to meet the needs? Are you going to keep studying? Are you going to change your practice? Are you going to look at some more leaderful type practice, more relational practice, more collective and collaborative practice, and how will you go about that? Always look at the marking criteria, each of these areas, the identify and critically review your current capacity, look down, outstanding obviously gets you a high distinction, linked to academic research and academic literature. So if you're just have a very sound and coherent discussion and understanding, that will give you a credit. Okay, above that it needs to be much more in depth and linked to a lot more academic research. Creating an illustration of your leadership blueprint or plan. So this plan or this blueprint comprehensively depicts and describes the steps to be taken in order to develop and or refine your skills, practices and behaviours. Okay? Or it clearly depicts, or it just depicts and describes the steps. So work down for the marking rubric. Then discuss in detail the leadership blueprint and evaluation measures. So this is really important that you actually link this to theory and practice. Okay? And that your blueprint, there's some subtle pointers here, indicates milestones and provides regular opportunities for substantial analysis of development from current capacity to ideal state. So that's your evaluation. So make sure you put some milestones in. So in 6 months' time, I'm going to look at this. In 12 months' time, etc. And then discuss how to ensure your leadership will constantly evolve. So this, at the high distinction level, you're showing a really deep understanding of the link between yourself and leadership as practice and your individual leadership development. You demonstrate superior knowledge and understanding of relationship between theory and practice. So all the way along we talk about this. And then the quality of written expression, presentation and referencing is the same for your other assessments. Really important that you actually, by the time you get to this third assessment, you're really across your referencing. I will give you a lot of feedback in each of the assessments, and I'm hoping that you'll take it in the right way, and we'll talk about that when we have some of our online meetings. Presentation, very similar to the last one. Okay, cover sheet, contents, table of contents, introduction, body of the assessment. So follow the tasks for section headings. So first of all, you've got your current leadership capacity, your strengths, etc. Then you've got your illustration of your blueprint with a discussion about that, a critical analysis of it. You've got your evaluation measures of your blueprint, and then you've got your future leadership development for the evolving development for responding to the 21st century. Then a conclusion, and then a reference list with the correct citations. And as I've said before, I do check for plagiarism in Turnitin, so if you want to check your work ahead of time, please go ahead and do that. Resources and further reading. I found this resource. It was the only one that I found that was really, really very well linked to this topic. I mean, there's lots that are, but I thought this one in particular was a very good one for you as a resource. Look at any professional or leadership development templates or action plans. Go back to your personality assessment and biographical account to locate your current leadership capacities and ideas and your ideas on your current ideas on leadership and how you want these to change and evolve. And then look at your subject readings, the theories on leadership as practice, reflective practice, leadership development, etc. And please don't forget that there are a wealth of readings on leadership and leadership development in the CSU library. So there's lots of resources there. Very simple Primo search will yield a lot of information. So if you have questions about anything, as I always say, post in the first instance to the assessment discussion forum so everyone benefits. You can email me, and then I can sometimes repurpose that question to the discussion forum. You can call me on Mondays between 10 and 12 or Thursdays between 3 and 5. And I thought I'd leave with a little bit of humour. I really like Dilbert. I use Dilbert a lot in my communications subjects. I particularly like this one because I think it really relates to this subject. So I'm reading a book about what it takes to be a great leader. Now, how many of us do that? And how many of these books are written by gurus who have done no research, etc., but they seem to know what makes a great leader? And then he says, do you know what Steve Jobs, we're going to have to go back to that, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Gandhi and Ryan Seacrest have in common? There we go. And then he says, none of them read this book. And they are carbon-based life forms. I thought that was very good. So leaving you with a little bit of humour. Good luck for the final assessment. I think it'll be challenging, but I think you'll enjoy it. And remember that it's something that you're looking at for your future leadership development. Okay? Good luck. Cheers.